afternoon people, and welcome to another episode of Adam's Eats. How are we doing? Now, before I jump straight into this recipe, I just want to give a quick shout out to one of my subscribers. Her name is Ara Berry. She left a really sweet comment on my Nutella puff pastry cream recipe. So thank you for that, and I hope your party goes absolutely fantastic. And again, thanks for watching. I do also want to give another shout out, but I'm going to leave that right till the end of the video. So let's get started with this recipe. Now today I'm going to make for you something really simple, and it's a chicken stew and dumplings. Now this is a bit different to the British way of making chicken and dumplings. For starters, the dumplings are smaller. I'm going to make little kind of marble sized ones, and they're going to float in the dish. And there's cream added to it as well. It's a bit kind of like the American way of doing chicken and dumplings, and it's really delicious, really simple, all kind of done in one pan. And that's what we're going to make today. So following the normal routine, if you hit that pause button, make a list of those ingredients and we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prep our veg. So take your onion, just peel it, split it in half, and then you want to dice it nice and fine. Okay, so you've got a nice fine dice like so. Then you want to peel your carrots, top and tail those, cut one in half, straight down the middle, into battens to start with, and then just dice. Now the observant viewer might also notice that my knives are now sharp. Yes, I was up late last night getting them nice and sharp because I was just absolutely fed up with trying to chop stuff with blunt knives, and I tell you, they were seriously blunt. Okay, so you want to repeat that with the rest of your carrot, and also you want to dice up the celery stick in the same way. Okay, so let's move on to our chicken. I'm using a corn-fed chicken here. And I've kept the skin on. You can obviously remove the skin if you're, being a bit health conscious or you don't like it. I'm going to keep it on because it does add a bit of flavour to the dish, and it's going to go nice and crisp in the pan as well. Now what I've got here, I've got 2 breasts and I've got 2 thighs, which I've just boned out, and I've left the skin on those as well. These are quite small, piddly little thighs, so you might have bigger ones. It doesn't really matter because the more chicken the better, I suppose. But this will kind of feed 3, maybe 4 people, so it makes a little bit of chicken go quite a long way. Now all you want to do is you want to slice up your thighs into smallish kind of chunks like so. Okay, and then the same with your breast. You just want to chop it into nice small bite-sized little chunks. Again, I'm leaving the skin on. Okay, that's the kind of size you're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that with the rest of my breast meat, and then we can start cooking. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to brown my chicken. Now you could add some olive oil in here if you're using chicken without any skin on, but because I've got the skin on, I'm going to put it in whilst the pan is kind of cold. And what that will do is if you put it in cold and then bring the heat up, that will render out some of the fat in the chicken skin and create its own kind of fat. So that's what I've done. Okay, so you want to bring the pan up to temperature until it's nice and sizzling. Should take about 2, maybe 3 minutes. Okay, so after a few minutes on high, as you can see, our chicken has gone nice and golden brown, and that skin as well has gone nice and crisp. So we just want to take that off the heat, pop it on a plate, okay, and then put your pan back on a low heat, and all this kind of fat that's been left in, leave that in because that's all flavour. And I'm just going to add just a touch of olive oil because there wasn't that much fat that came out of that chicken, so I'm just going to add a little bit extra. And then you want to add in your carrot, onion and celery. And then it's the usual drill, on a nice low heat. You want to sweat this down for about 5–10 minutes until the onions have gone nice and soft and translucent. Okay, so after about 10 minutes, my onions have gone nice and soft. Then you just want to add in your garlic. Okay, so you just want to cook this out for about 30 seconds to a minute. This just takes the edge off the garlic and makes it a bit sweeter. And then we'll add the flour. Okay, so then you want to add in your flour and then just mix it through. If it looks like it's gone a bit too dry, just add a little bit of stock. And all you're trying to do is just cook out the rawness of the flour. It doesn't take long, again, about 30 seconds to a minute. Just going to add a bit more stock. Okay, so once it kind of looks like that, you can add the rest of it in. And add in your thyme, your rosemary, bay leaves, and just a bit of pepper, not too much because there's going to be salt and pepper in the stock, remember. Now you want to bring that to a simmer and leave it on the heat for about sort of 20 minutes till it becomes a bit thicker. It should have reduced a little bit as well. And whilst that's doing that, we'll get on and we'll make our dumplings. Okay, dumplings then. Now I've made these before on a different recipe. It's the same recipe I always use. The only difference is I've halved the quantity just because I don't need as much dumpling mix. Now what I've got here, I've got my self-raising flour and my suet. Now I've used vegetable suet because the shops didn't seem to want to sell beef suet. Use beef suet if you can because it's just nicer. Now I've got a parsley bunch and I'm going to use probably about half of it just for the dumplings. This is optional, you don't have to do this. Okay, add that in. Now I've got about 100 ml of water here. You might not need all of it, so just add half to start with, and then just mix it together with a fork. And what you're looking for is you kind of bring it together into a semi-wet dough, I suppose, best way to describe it. And you want to be able to pick up all of the flour, so there's still some kind of floating around there, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Okay, and then you just want to get your hands in there to give it a nice thorough mix to pick up any of that excess flour, and that's kind of what you want. Should be nice and tacky, and that's ready to go. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes now on a nice simmer, and as you can see, it's thickened up nicely. So we're going to get in our chicken. Now you want to start adding your dumplings. Now I'm going to make nice little tiny ones because I like little ones, kind of that size. And you just want to plop them in the stew, and then just give those a bit of a mix through, and then you want to pop a lid on and then leave that for about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, just on a nice low heat, ticking over until those dumplings are nice and cooked all the way through and they're puffed up and the chicken is cooked as well. Okay, so about sort of 10 minutes in, we're just going to add our cream. No calories in this, who cares? And then just a nice spattering of fresh parsley. Give that another mix in. If it's looking a little bit too dry or it's reduced a bit too much, just add a touch of water. I'm just going to add about 100 ml, something like that, because mine looks a little bit too reduced. Lid back on, cook for a further 10 minutes, bosh, it's done. Okay, so now we just want to quickly check for seasoning. It doesn't need anything. There's salt in that stock. Right, so let's serve some up and get it in my face. Serve this up in a nice deep bowl. I forgot to say as well, make sure you fish out the kind of sprigs of thyme and rosemary and the bay leaves, because you don't want to munch on them. Right, so there we have it, American style chicken and dumplings. Right, let's give it a taste. Chicken and dumplings. Ow, bowl is hot. Let's go in. That's good. I say all my food's good, don't I? I mean, I suppose you'll know if you make it yourself whether it's good or not. I mean, if it isn't, just obviously leave a comment and go, Adam, your food's rubbish. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just all a load of rubbish. There's a word I use to describe food sometimes, and that's unctuous. It's really savoury, it's creamy, it's got that kind of herbiness about it as well. This bowl is stupidly hot. Ouch! I'm gonna have to put this down. Well, there we are, folks. As you can see, another simple, easy recipe. Great for kind of midweek dinners. It's all done in one pan, less washing up, and in what, 30, 40 minutes, bosh, you've got a meal on the table. Now, before I finish this video, I just want to give another shout out to one of my favourite YouTubers, and that's Keith Cooks. Now, go visit his channel. I'll put a link in the description below, and I'll put one up on the screen now as well. Check out his videos. He's got absolutely tons and tons of recipes on there. But what I really like about Keith is he's really honest. He looks a bit like Colonel Sanders, but also as well, he's not afraid to show the mishaps and fails that go along with making a recipe and producing a cooking channel. It shows you how kind of honest things are. So go visit his channel. It's absolutely brilliant. He's hilarious. If you go and watch his long experiment video, you'll kind of see what I mean. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks ever so much for watching. Again, please like, share and subscribe if you like my videos. I'll put all my social media links in the description below. I'll see you guys next time. Adios.